All right, we'll get started in a moment. What's nice is I don't have to take roll for you, so I don't have to do two things at once. All right, so welcome everybody to Mr. Jake's 8th grade language arts class. Some of us have met before. I'm super excited to be here this year. I'm actually a language arts 8th grade US history teacher at heart. This is my 22nd year teaching, and I first taught 8th grade language arts in 1999. It was a combination class where I taught 2 periods of language arts and 1 period of history to all the same students. So I had the same students for 3 periods a day. That was a really crazy class. I remember that still. All right, I'm going to start with sharing. While I'm admitting people, I'm going to play a short video for you. If I can find it, which is here. After the short video, I will talk to you about the grading, and then I will take questions. Oh, first, something I learned from the students, I have to share the computer sound on Zoom, otherwise it doesn't come through. Back to school night, language arts. My name is Mr. Jay Powell, and I have the pleasure and privilege of teaching 8th grade language arts at Hall Middle School this year. I'm very excited to be starting my 3rd year at Hall, and it'll be my 22nd year overall as an educator. I've taught social arts at both the middle school and high school levels in the past. Our linguistic journey starts with an investigation into each individual's identities and the narratives of others, and progresses through a variety of fiction and nonfiction literary topics and styles of writing. I know that this will be a successful and enjoyable school year for all my students. I will be going over the syllabus in class. However, I want to make sure that parents are aware of my expectations, curriculum goals, etc. I strongly believe that in order for my students to be successful, I must develop and maintain a relationship with their parents. To that end, I encourage you to contact me with any questions and or concerns at jpowell@lcmschools.org. Email is my preferred method of communication, as I check my email frequently throughout each day. My expectations for student work, behavior, and participation. My number one expectation for my classroom is respect. Students must be respectful of me, the classroom environment, and most importantly, of each other. I will not tolerate put downs of any kind. This classroom is to be a safe place for all students. I expect my students to come to class prepared to learn, and I expect them to work to the best of their ability. I have high expectations for my students, and I will do everything I can to help them succeed. My class will be challenging, but it will be fun as well. Finally, I expect every student to participate. Required materials: spiral notebook for warm-up exercises, class notes, pen and pencil, and a computer. Enthusiasm. All right, this is our 8th grade language arts overview. Our first unit is called Me, Myself, and I, and we're going to investigate into personal identity, history, and we're going to use narrative writing as our tool. Then we move into A Perfect World, reading of dystopian novels. All right, I think that's perfectly appropriate for the era that we're currently in. Literary essay writing is the skill we're going to be learning. Then we're going to move into What in the World, reading of nonfiction articles, expository writing through investigative journalism. After that, we go to What's Right Should We Have. We're going to read, banned, or challenge books. We're going to use opinion argumentative essay as our tool, and then we're also going to do speech presentations of these banned or challenged books. Next is Heroes/Sheroes, reading of historical fiction and memoir, scrapbook narrative of character and their life. After that, we're going to go to Justice in America, reading of books about justice in America, comparing and contrasting essays between students and characters. We also have a joint language arts, social studies, social justice project, which we're going to be working on. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm super excited for the start of this new school year. Thank you for watching my video. All right. So I showed that to my wife and she said it was terrible, and she's probably right. I did it today during my prep second period. I think maybe I'm a little bit more awake now. I had to skip my swim this morning because of the smoke, and then I swam at 2 o'clock and I felt much better. So I think the fact that I didn't get to swim this morning made me less enthusiastic in that video. I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to show you my grading expectation, and then I'm going to take questions from the group. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Most assignments will assess a language arts skill as well as a habit of learning. This trimester, I will be assessing these language arts skills that I'm talking about right now. Reading skills, inferring about character, developing interpretations, morals, lessons, and themes, and supporting claims with reasons and evidence. Writing skills, we're going to structure development and conventions for narrative writing. We're going to have structure development and conventions for opinion and argument writing. In addition, I'll be assessing the following habits of learning skills this trimester: initiative and ownership of learning, as well as adaptability. For some assignments, you will see multiple skills assessed. We're working towards proficiency by year's end. In addition, if an assignment is not turned in or not done fully, this will be reflected under the initiative and ownership of learning, habits of learning. Under each assignment, there'll be a link to a rubric used for that assignment. I'll also include a comment when necessary to explain a student's performance. All right, so that was the things that I wanted to say that are in that format. And now I'd love to take questions from the people at large. I started my class with a song from De La Soul called Me, Myself, and I. And I really feel like that video fell a little flat. I don't know if you guys remember it from 1997, but the students weren't having it at all. It was way too old. Does anybody have any questions for me? And you know, I had your students in class today, and I had a similar response from them when I asked them for questions. So I can keep going. I don't have a problem with that. All right. I think it's really important for the students to see that information is not always true. All right. And this article, students have a dismaying inability to tell fake news from real news. All right. This is from 2016, but I think it's still true today. So in my presentation, I was talking about evidence. You know, students can't Google their way to truth. We have to find a way for them to be able to understand truth. And I'm going to start a unit next week with my students in this language arts class about trying to identify the difference between truth and fiction in some of the current news articles that we see today. I think it's really important that students start to learn to be able to discern information on their own through evidence. You have to have a resource that you can trust so that you can make decisions about whether or not you think something to be true. Wendy, you have your hand up. I'd love to answer a question.
Yes, actually, I was curious. I mean, social studies, you are going to be covering.
This is language arts.
Yeah, this is language arts, so that's fine.
Language arts. And I just wanted to find out, you mentioned in terms of argumentative writing and whatnot, and doing some of that, is are you going to be allowing them to cover some of the social issues that are going on currently as well?
For sure. So when we start the dystopian unit, we're going to have them. The argumentative writing is really called persuasive writing, where they take a stand and they talk about something that's important to them, and they convince me and their other peers about their idea and why it's important. But I'm going to definitely bring the Black Lives Matter movement and all of the things that are happening out in society right now. I'm going to try and bring that into the classroom because it's not something that we can avoid. I know right here in Marin, I've been bringing up the issue of the Sir Francis Drake changing the school to 1342, but also changing the name of the whole street itself. And in fact, I want us to talk about what should we change it to. I think it's really important for students to think about the heritage of Native Americans in this area, talking about the local Miwok and talking about the Pomo tribe in Santa Rosa, the Graton Rancheria, and what perspective did those individuals have when you try and use names from Europe as references for place here in Marin and in Sonoma County? So I'm going to try and bring local ideas about these topics to the students as well. But we're definitely not going to try and avoid the information that we're seeing on the news daily. And I think my time is up. So I just want to make sure that we're cognizant of where we need to go next. But I'd love to take another question if somebody's got one.
Just super quick, so your grading rubric will be given with most assignments, so we can know how is that posted in Google Classroom?
So it will be attached in Alma to the assignment in Alma. So when you see the assignment in Alma, there should be a rubric that goes along with it so you can understand how that grade was reached.
Thank you so much.
Certainly, no problem.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all for coming tonight. I have to get ready for my next one, but it was great to see you, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm excited. I think it's gonna be fun.